Welcome back to our channel. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most iconic figures in history, the gladiator. Gladiators were skilled fighters who entertained crowds in ancient Rome with their brutal and daring battles in the arena. But who were these men, and what was their world like? Gladiator itself comes from the word gladius, which means sword. Armed fighters who engaged in combat to entertain audiences in the Roman Republic and Roman Empire. The history of gladiators is still somewhat unclear, with some sources suggesting that it was influenced by the culture of the Etruscan civilization, the predecessor of the Roman civilization, in the 1st century BC. There are also sources that claim this tradition originated from the Campanian people in 310 BC. However, the commonality among all these sources is the practice of ritualistic fights to the death, believed to honor funeral ceremonies, as they believed that the fallen fighters would serve as protectors for the deceased in the afterlife. This tradition was later revived by the Romans in 264 BC, during the funeral of a general named Brutus Pera, where his son, Brutus Scaeva, and several other officers arranged for 3 pairs of slaves to fight to the death as a form of entertainment for the guests in attendance. Over time, this spectacle was not only limited to funeral ceremonies but also became a public spectacle organized by the wealthy in special arenas called amphitheaters. Gladiator matches in ancient Rome provided an opportunity for emperors and wealthy nobles to display their wealth to the public, commemorate military victories, mark the visits of important officials, celebrate birthdays, or simply divert the attention of the people from political and economic issues of the time. Most gladiators originated from backgrounds of slaves or criminals, but there were also cases of prisoners of war forced to perform in the arena. There were also instances of bankrupt nobles being forced to earn a living by fighting, such as Sempronius, a descendant of the influential Gracchi family. It's important to note that women were allowed to fight as gladiators until they were banned by Septimius Severus in 200 AD. There were specialized gladiator schools established throughout the Roman Empire, with Capua being particularly famous for producing gladiators. Agents would search for potential gladiators across the empire to meet the increasing demand and fill the training schools, which had a very high turnover of fighters. Gladiators used weapons and armor depending on the class of gladiator they belonged to. There were 4 main classes. 1. Samnite class, named after the Samnite warriors who once fought against and were defeated by the Romans in the early years of the Republic. Interestingly, in the beginning, the Romans used the terms gladiator and Samnite interchangeably, indicating an alternative Etruscan origin for these games. As the heaviest equipped class, Samnites used swords or spears, large square shields, scutum, and protective armor on their right arm, which held the sword, and left leg. 2. Thracian class, gladiators with short curved swords, sicca, and small square or round shields, parma, held in the hand to avoid blows. 3. Murmillo class, sometimes known as the fish men, because they had a fish-shaped crested helmet. Like the Samnites, they carried short swords and scutum shields, but their armor consisted only of padding on the arms and legs. 4. Retiarius class, gladiators without helmets or armor except for padded shoulder covering, and they carried weighted nets. They would try to entangle their opponents by throwing the net and then stab them with a trident. There were also cases of refusal to fight. One of the most famous ones occurred in a gladiator contest organized by Quintus Aurelius Symmachus around 401 AD, when prisoners scheduled to fight decided to strangle each other in their cells rather than be a spectacle for the Roman society. Gladiators who lost, if not immediately killed, often pleaded for mercy by dropping their weapons and shields, and raising one finger, but the crowd of spectators would influence the decision by waving cloths or giving a thumbs-up sign and shouting, "Me," which means, "let him go," while thumbs down and shouts of, "Jugula," meaning, "kill him." The winner of the contest would receive prizes, fame, food, wine, and women, which is why many volunteered to become gladiators. The era of gladiators gradually came to an end after the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, where all forms of festivals, traditions, or events that were in conflict with official Christian religion were stopped. The last game for gladiators occurred when a monk from Asia Minor named Telemachus jumped in between two gladiators to stop the bloodshed, but the angry mob stoned the monk to death. As a result, Honorius officially banned gladiator contests. And that's a wrap for our video on the fascinating world of gladiators. We hope you enjoyed learning about these skilled fighters of ancient Rome and their intriguing history.